than the last time we saw each other. I'm glad that you ended on a personal note because we're under pressure here because there's been so much said already that it's so hard to come up with original questions and original answers. So this is my chance to start off on a personal note as well. You ended your speech with deference to your father and the legacy that he has left in ABS-CBN. You have been the CEO of ABS-CBN for the last 15 years. May I ask you, what has been the hardest lesson for you as CEO?
Well, we're going through a lot of changes. I think the business is being radically transformed. I think part of the responsibility of CEO is being responsible for the thousands of people that work for you. And so the weight of responsibility on your shoulder when you're making decisions that affect the lives of thousands of people is a heavy burden. And so it's always good and comforting to have that guiding light that at the end of the day, if you do what's right for the consumer, you can't really go wrong.
Sir, you have been an enigma to us. I have worked with you for 8 years. I have actually worked for all the CEOs here. May I just ask you also, what has been the hardest thing in ABS-CBN that you have wanted to change?
I think we went through a period where we got complacent, and when you're number one for many, many years, we go through a period of complacency. And so when Henry woke us up rudely, it was a very difficult time for the network. But fortunately, I believe that we've overcome that particular obstacle.
And now I know at the risk of sounding biased, I just have to ask this. How do you honestly feel about TV5 and MVP coming into the picture?
Well, I think they're definitely going to be around to stay. They're clearly a very, very vigorous and a competitor that you should not take for granted. So I think, I speak for Henry and me, I don't think either of us will ever take Manny Pangilinan for granted.
I remember you saying when we were in ABS-CBN, and I also know that the industry used to believe that we cannot accommodate more than 2 players. But now the fact is there is a 3rd player, and it's been warmly accommodated. And as a matter of fact, the advertising pie has not exactly shrunk because of it. Have you changed your mind about that?
Actually, if you think about it, there are so many channels, and they're all over the place. And I think with time, there will even be more choices for consumers that will come from channels from abroad. And when the tablet becomes a device that goes below $100, I think that's going to be a significant choice for many, many Filipinos. And so I don't see it as a 3-way fight. I see it as a fight for the hearts and minds of consumers, Filipino consumers here and everywhere. And you shouldn't think about just 2 or 5. There are a lot of choices for Filipino consumers to make. And so you have to be very clear about where you're going to put yourself and what kind of content you want to create.
Do you see the industry edging out at least one of the 3? Do you see the industry edging out at least one of the 3 networks now? Do you think that that's a scenario that could play out in the next 1 or 2 years?
I think the whole model of being advertising driven is going to change in the next 5 years. And so the ability of the networks to attract and monetize subscription from subscribers is going to be a critical criteria by which we're going to judge whether somebody is going to be successful in the digital millennia or not.